Hi everyone. Our speaker will be joining us very soon. Um, until then, I'll just introduce you to the topic that we are going to discuss today. The topic of the discussion today will be how to plan for different expenses for your child's education. Until then, if you have any questions for the speaker before he joins, please keep dropping your questions in the comments below. Hello, so welcome to the session.
Hi,
Hi, how are you
doing
doing?
good, doing good. I think it's great to have be there on this conversation. I hope
Absolutely.
I hope the light and everything is okay for the users.
Absolutely, yeah. And your voice is clearly audible.
Great, great.
If there are any issues, I will for sure let you know.
Sure.
And first of all, welcome to the session. We are very excited to have you today with us. So I guess we can begin the session.
Yes, sure.
Okay, great. So hello everyone. My name is Diksha. I am a senior content marketer at EduFund, and today we are going to discuss about the different educational expenses you have to pay for your child's education. And the speaker for today's session with us is Mr. Saurabh Arora. He is the Deputy VP of Digital Sales and Distributor Alliances at HDFC AMC with over 20 years of experience in the mutual funds industry. He has worked in different capacities, driving digital business and marketing, business development, and sales across geographies. So, welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you, thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be there on this interface, interacting with parents,
Yeah.
and I am also one of them, going through
Okay.
the anxiety of kids' education and then managing the kids' education as such.
Yeah, I am very sure that all the parents that are viewing this live today will get great insights from your experience and knowledge. So before we begin the questions, I would like to talk a bit about EduFund. So EduFund is India's first investment and advisory application purely dedicated to Indian parents. So it helps them save for their child's education. So from calculating the cost of education to saving and planning for it, parents can explore multiple options on the app. So do not forget to check out the app once the session ends. But before that, we have amazing questions and answers for you all. So let's jump into the questions.
Sure.
Great. So you know, talking about educational expenses, there's one expensive that is, that all often becomes an oversight, which is transportation cost for education. And recently, along with all the relevant education costs, transportation has also increased tremendously. So, how should one plan for these unanticipated costs? Because these are something that, parents don't really realize that these are the things that they're going to have to pay for once. So, like, how should one prepare for these kind of charges?
Right. No, but when we talk about transportation overall cost, and that's where the whole beginning of the education aspect, especially from the time when we decide upon, finding the colleges, the whole transportation cost starts from there. Especially if we are there into doing that international education side, that in itself, adds up to the huge cost. Apart from the day-to-day costs which a child incurs in terms of going to the larger educational institutes, that's different. But the whole search time in itself, that can add up to a huge transportation cost as such. And it is very important that the whole planning of the education, educational expense when it comes to the colleges, there is a shorter version of that planning of money should also be done. And typically we go about doing that contingency or short-term planning of the expenses as well. And that's where,
Right.
within mutual funds today, the beauty is that mutual fund in itself does offer a wide range of solutions as such, which can actually match the time horizon, as well as the kind of within that time horizon what money I can save and accumulate as such. And that's where something like a typical contingency fund, even in EduFund, it also talks about something like
Right.
liquid funds, which actually is a replica of the way I keep money in my bank account. It's very similar to that, but the only thing is I'm creating a separate pocket for that. I think it's
Right.
very important that when we identify such kind of cost, maybe a transportation or anything related to that, which is kind of not comes in the regular planning, it is important to create separate pockets for consumers. And when we create certain pockets, we make sure that we accumulate money in those separate pockets. Mutual funds do offer such kind of solution of creating separate pockets within your investment time horizon, which are shorter term in nature, which has got a very low to medium risk into that, and which in turn does generate some bit of income as well. And a combination of these three can help consumers, put aside some bit of cost
Right.
around that as well and make use of that particular thing.
Right, absolutely. And you gave great insights about mutual funds. When it comes to new investors, they often get very overwhelmed by the number of options that are available out there for mutual funds. So, in simple terms, how would you suggest a new investor, decides on a mutual fund to save for their child?
No, I think today that's where I think the most important is platform like yours, which is so unique, which brings in a very customized solution focused on kid. And this like so
Right.
simple platform. This thing is, it is not that I am this there on this conversation with you guys I'm talking about, but day one when I looked at EduFund, I said that it is so unique, which is
Right.
focused on specific TG, and which is in our lives as parents, this is so important a segment to put focus on. And then we all are accumulation phase revolves around kids future, and we think so much about kids future, and that's where probably platforms like yours can give a more robust solution into that. But when
Right.
it comes to identifying the right set of solutions for saving, and of course saving is one side of the story, but more importantly apart from saving is that saving should create enough earnings as well, because we've always
Right.
seen that we can save money in as cash as well at home, but the only thing is the value of the cash keeps going down, because inflation is also a
Absolutely.
very big animal. Ultimately, the value of 100 rupees today may not remain that same value tomorrow. That same 100
Right.
rupees, not 100 rupees. It is eroding, and inflation is that animal. To make use of or to negate the impact of the inflation, every saving has to earn enough so that it grows to that level of creating enough value of future. So whatever is the future value of your current money, I think my savings should be able to beat that inflation and be ready for that expenses of the future. And that's where it is very important that my investment tool or investment product should be capable enough to handle that particular inflation animal. And
Right.
in that case, what I've realized that equity becomes a very important investment instrument, or making use of equity in my investment instrument is very, very important for it to create enough wealth and beat inflation. Now,
Right.
when I talk about equity, for most of the people, a bell rings that is it risky? is it going to be, and considering the kind of volatility we are going through, that how it will manage that particular thing. Say for instance, if I've invested now, and then there are certain extremely volatile period, and the value of my money gets eroded.
Right.
So equity should be always looked at a longer time horizon. So if my child's future is dependent on that, and that's 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line, then of course this time horizon is enough to negate that particular volatility. But also it is important that I create enough risk mitigation, or enough cushion in that investment. So to my mind, if I were to keep investment a very simple thing, then there are two aspects of it. Is that I create a more cushioned investment product, and within that cushioned investment product, there are certain things which I have seen over this few years, is things like balanced funds, which is a combination of equity and which also have a cushion of fixed income. And as a combination, that helps you allow, within that longer time horizon, meet your goals of beating inflation, creating enough value, creating wealth, and at the same point in time, not be worried about extreme amount of volatility.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And you mentioned volatility and the value of your money not remaining the same in the future. We are also seeing a lot of rupee depreciation. So, for the parents, because a lot of parents want to send their child to abroad for
Right.
education. So, those parents, how would you suggest they should prepare and save for their child's abroad education in this market?
That's a great question. And one side I was talking about the big animal called inflation, and the value of money getting eroded more what we are spending in this country. But that adds another problem area, that the value of money also depreciates more from the buying parity of dollars, right? And dollar becomes expensive every day, and considering the fact that there is a huge difference between the global economy versus us, right? And we've always seen dollar getting appreciated. So the cost of anything you're buying globally would keep on going up and up on a continuous basis. And we always realize that if I were to spend some bit of money in US today versus what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow it's going to be more expensive because dollar is turning to be more expensive. I
Right.
remember, my early days, maybe 10, 20 years back, dollar was just about 30, 40 rupees. Today it is about 80 to 83 rupees. So that's doubled in a matter of a decade, right? So in that case, the best tool which comes to my mind is that today investing, definitely we've all known about investing in our own markets, investing in equities in India, but also to hedge that particular risk of dollar, there is a very important tool that today you have, products to invest in global funds as well. So the way we
Right.
know about Sensex and Nifty, we've heard called Nasdaq, right? So,
Yeah.
or which is like buying US markets. That means you're owning your investment is not in India denominated product, but your money is in global denominated product or US denominated product. And that's where I think very important as part of our diversification in our overall investment. And we are very clear about that tomorrow, if the education is going to be around global investing or global currencies, then might as well we keep money today in global currency itself. And that's where we can buy investments, or we can invest in global funds as well. And there are a wide range of global investing products which talks about multi countries to US dominated to emerging markets, whichever looks to be
Right.
fine. But there are quite a few investment opportunities which are there, which helps consumers buy global denominated products as such.
Absolutely. Yeah. In order to save in dollars, you have to invest in dollars as well.
Yes.
So we have a few new viewers joining in. So I'll just quickly give a brief about what's happening right now to the new people who have joined. Hello, I am Deeksha from EduFund, and today we are discussing all the different education expenses. Sorry, all the different education expenses you have to pay for your child's education. And today, as the speaker, we have Mr. Saurabh Arora from HDFC today with us. So, sir, when it comes to education, एक चीज जो बहुत ही common है, that is recurring expenses. Uh, हर बार वही छोटे छोटे जो expenses होते हैं वो बढ़ के एक large sum हो जाता है and parents don't usually realize that. So, do you think इन expenses के लिए कुछ अलग strategy होनी चाहिए?
I think there is a serious need of planning for all our expenses, and child's education or child's future, which we are always very, very concerned about.
Right.
Money is also a very important portion of that particular planning. And money planning there has various segments, which I realize, and these segments, as you're actually taking off the layers one by one in each of your question. One, you said that starting the education, you get the travel expense. Number two, you're talking about
Right.
global investing, global education, and that's where you're telling that. That needs to be planned. Number three is definitely the recurring expenses. Now,
Right.
when we get all these three, if we were to put across all these expenses, and the next question, if I could preempt, is the larger fees expense and the which goes at one go, right? I think if all these plannings is jotted down and looked at that when these expenses would come, if there is a 1 year of education or a 2 year of post-graduation course globally, then each of these expenses needs to be jotted down. Maybe a
Right.
rough calculation, and when the need of that particular flow is going to happen, right? Mutual
Right.
funds also, and again, I'm coming to mutual fund because of my background of the mutual fund such, but mutual funds do offer certain solutions which says that, hey, you would need recurring money needs or outflow is required, then you can actually go about planning and making sure that out of that pool every month a fixed amount on a fixed date can come into your bank account, which in turn can be utilized for the payment. So,
Right.
and this tool is called systematic withdrawal plan. Mutual funds, we've
Okay.
all heard the systematic word comes quite synonymous with mutual fund, and we've all heard this word called SIP, systematic investment.
Yes.
So systematic investment plan, we've all known this concept that it is a recurring way of investing money into mutual fund. Same way, for a systematic way of withdrawing money, a fixed amount is also available. So we can go about planning that if my monthly expense is X, I plan for this particular X money. Say, for instance, if the monthly money is even 50,000 rupees, I would plan for a pool of money, say for instance, 6 lakh rupee would be required in a year, right? And it's a
Right.
2 year course. So it's a 12 lakh rupees, right? So I
Right.
plan that 12 lakh rupees and make sure that every month 50,000 rupees automatically comes into my bank account on a specific date that is used as a systematic withdrawal. That's a one-time request which has to be made into that particular pool, and this entire process would get automated, which in
Right.
turn can solve for the entire stress of arranging or thinking of that where that money is going to come from.
Right.
Right. So these are the tools which are available in mutual fund which can be utilized for the recurring payments.
Absolutely. Budgeting and planning is very important for such expenses. And that's where we come in. EduFund, you can plan for your child's educational cost with the help of our saving experts as well. So make sure to check out the app after the session ends. So, sir, moving on to my next question. I know that you anticipated my next question, but I might just surprise you. So, I'm sure a lot of parents here also want to know this about the tax saving benefits of mutual funds and investments. So, like how does it all play an important role or helps parents save on taxes?
Right. See, saving on taxes, definitely not directly correlated to child's planning, child's future planning, and tax saving. But tax saving is a important tool, important this thing, and especially the time we are doing this particular conversation. Jan to March is always a kind of question which in
Right,
every individual's mind who is making money, who's filing taxes, is how to save taxes, right? And
right,
saving taxes is also about that. Okay, I'll save on taxes, but my money on the saving which I do, it should do a dual job of creating the wealth as well. And that's where mutual fund in itself is always focused on providing different sets of solutions as such. And while we are just now looking at a solution for child's future, but tax saving is also a very important solution. And that's where mutual funds do offer a very robust products, which is called equity linked saving scheme, or ELSS, which comes
yeah,
under section 80C. And this particular saving instrument, or tax saving instrument, most mutual funds do offer by way of tax saver products. And this product has got a 3-year lock-in. That means money invested today would remain locked in for 3 years, and whatever money you've saved up to 1.5 lakh rupees, the money can be. So section 80C comprises of maximum 1.5 lakh rupees can be saved in this time horizon, in this investment opportunity. And with this saving, this is reduced from your earnings, and that's where your tax saving happens. But one important thing, which is unlike the investment advice, what we are talking about, or investment details which we are talking about, even your child's fees, what you're giving now, right? That also comes under section 80C.
okay,
And this is very important tool that today every fees which you paid for your child, that entire fees also you can consider as part of your 80C investment or 80C saving. And you can use
that's interesting.
yeah, and you can use the fee paid receipt under section 80C, and which in turn can reduce your burden of investment, because 1.5 lakh rupees is compulsory. At least you can always make use of that particular thing in saving, right?
Right,
And
right.
at least in the old tax regime, not in the new tax regime as such. And under that 80C, even the school fees or the education fees of your child also comes under that.
Right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely. And so we have received a very interesting question here. Someone wants to know how, what can how can someone invest when they realize about the education expenses very late? So what are the investment, tips for such people?
Right. So I think realizing it late or early also comes to a very important question, that what is the time I am left with to do that kind of expense, right? And so time horizon happens to be one of the most important factor. In fact, I have heard this term
Absolutely.
over this last 20 years of my career, that it is not the timing of investment, it is the time you give to your investment that works well. But if you've got
Okay.
lesser time, definitely that would have lesser propensity to earn more. But
Right.
still, for any time horizon, there are products available, and lesser the time horizon, you have lesser appetite of risk. So it is very important to define that how much time is left for you to do that particular expense. You pull
Right.
in money for that time horizon, and there are different sets of product for that time horizon. Say, for instance, if you have a time horizon of sub 1 year, then you can't think of investing, as I said, talking about balanced funds or equity funds. You can't think of that because that can lead to much more volatility. So for shorter time horizons, you have to look at more of lesser risk product, fixed income products, which has got that kind of time horizon. So there are products which is called ultra short term products or liquid funds, which is like a for shorter time horizon, but still they keep on earning money. They keep
Right.
keeping your money, putting aside in a separate pocket rather than keeping it in your savings bank account. Because if the money is lying in your bank account, it has more, opportunity to get spent, right? So you have to keep it
Right.
aside in a separate pocket. Look at products like liquid funds or ultra short-term funds or short-term funds, which in
Okay.
turn tends to earn for that time horizon if it is sub 1 year, and still stay there in a separate pocket. But definitely it is important that we identify the time horizon.
Okay. Great. So, unfortunately, we are running out of time for this session. Some suggestion that you would like to give to parents and especially new investors on like a master tip or mantra to help them save for their child's education.
I think my biggest learning has been is over this last 20 years is that start investing from the first salary. And this is
Right.
something which I've been fortunate because nobody decides on investing on the first salary or the start
Yeah.
of your cash flow in. But I was fortunate to have mentors around who always pushed me to look at saving as the most important decision of life, because as early as you start, you are giving your money more time to earn. Money makes
Absolutely.
and money makes money only if it gets more time. There
Absolutely. Power
is
of
no other
compounding.
way. The best tip may never help. The best of advisory would definitely help to a certain extent, but until unless you have given time to your investment, it would not make money. Right? So
Absolutely.
the biggest mantra is that as much of time you're giving to your saved money, it would make immense amount of wealth. We've all heard the power, and that's we've always called that the eighth wonder of this wonder, which is called power of compounding. And
Right.
that's where we've always realized that the power of compounding, I've always this is like a thumb rule, that if you have to decide that how to double your money, there is a tool, and this is like another tip. I
Okay.
would say there's a tool called power of 72.
72.
Right. So
Okay.
this power of 72 is that in how much time you want to double your money. So you divide 72 with that number. So you want to double your money in 5 years.
Okay.
So 72 divided by 5. This would tell you how much of the return your investment should generate. So
Okay.
if you have 72, you want to double your money in 10 years, that means your investment product should generate 7.2% return. And if you want to
Okay.
double your money in 5 years, that means your investment product should generate 14% return.
Okay.
And there is
That's
vice
very
versa tool
interesting to
as
me.
well, that if you know that your investment product is generating whatever return, Say for instance, if it is generating 15% return, then what you do is 72 divided by 15. That would tell you that in that much 72 divided by 15, your money would double in that time horizon.
Okay, wow, that was a
The
great
biggest
tip.
tool to decide which investment product should you use and what time horizon you can use.
Absolutely. And also there's never too early to start investing. Just start as soon as possible, as soon as you realize.
Yeah.
Mr. Arora, it was great having a discussion with you, and I'm sure our audience was able to get great insights, very helpful tips from you. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great pleasure to interact with the consumers, and all the best. Happy investing.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.